What's up everybody, it's Sean here and I am back today to give you guys an early look at the upcoming Up There collaboration with New Balance on this 860 V2 in the green and blue colorway. Today's video is sponsored by Quality. Quality is a Montreal-based streetwear brand and it's a brand that I've featured on my channel many times now. Recently they launched their fall and winter 2024 line, which I have to say is probably the best line that they've ever released so far. It's a good mix of wearable pieces and statement pieces, including this heavyweight plaid that I'm rocking right now. This is a great piece to layer on those cool but not super cold days. So if you guys are interested to check out Quality, I've linked their socials, their website, all that good stuff down below. So check them out, support the independent brands, and tell them that you heard about them through me. So this right here is the latest collaboration between Australian-based boutique Up There with New Balance. This time they're releasing an 860 V2, and these are releasing at Up There at the end of the month, and then there's going to be a follow-up worldwide release in November. So the retail price for this shoe is $170 US, which is approximately 230 Canadian dollars converted. And the product code is ML860UP2. And before we go on any further, I want to give a huge thank you over to Up There for sending me over this pair early. So jumping into the details of the shoe itself, as we start things off with the toe box, just like most 860 V2s, this is covered in this open style mesh, and this is done in a pale blue sort of tone. Overlaid on top of the toe box, we have these synthetic nubuck overlays, which is done in a neon green color, and we have accents of brown on the medial edge. Surrounding the front toe cap, we have another synthetic nubuck layer here with pale blue color detailing, and then on the lateral side, we have these darker green synthetic layers. Covering the eyelets, we have a mix of light green and dark green colored synthetic nubuck, and then connected to this on the mid panel, we have this large New Balance end logo, which is reflective in nature. This is done in this brown color. And then beneath this, we have this neon green colored mesh, which is a lot more tightly wound together compared to the blue colored mesh. Moving downwards, you can see more of that open style blue colored mesh that we saw earlier on the toe box. On the lateral side, we have 860 V2 branding, and then covering the bottom of the heel, we have this copper colored brown colored mesh with blue and green color detailing on top. In the middle, we have New Balance branding along with these silver reflective panels on either side. As far as the laces go, so this pair comes with 4 different lace options, 3 of which are called Sure laces. So we have a pink pair, which is probably my favorite, a green one, and a mint pair. And then there's also a 2-tone oval lace, which is done in a mix of blue and green. So there's a ton of variety here. There's going to be a lace for everyone, but like I said, my personal favorite are the pink ones. I really like the pop of color that it provides. Covering the laces, they also come with a zippable lace shroud, which is also constructed out of synthetic materials. This is a bit of an odd choice to me. It's not something that I would personally rock, but I guess it's good to have that option for those that care. Underneath this, the bottom half of the tongue is covered in that open style blue colored mesh. We have this woven strip down the center in brown, which helped to hold the laces in place. And then the top of the tongue, this is covered in a mint green neoprene-like layer, which feels very soft to the touch. And then fused onto the top of the tongue, we have New Balance branding done in a mix of blue and pink. The back of the tongue and the interior liner of the shoe, this is covered in a brown colored mesh. And then for the insoles, these come with a decently padded foam line insole. It's covered in this pink finish on top, and we have New Balance running branding pressed onto the heel. So the upper of this New Balance 860 V2 sits atop this foam midsole, which is not specified whether it's Absorb or Activa or something like that. But regardless, this is done in a mix of this off-white color with neon green and brown. What they do specify though is that it features New Balance's energy technology. This is visible on the lateral heel with these gel-like pillars, which help with impact protection and shock absorption. And fun fact for those who aren't familiar with this, the tooling of the shoe is exactly the same as what you'd find on a 1906 or a 2002R. Those two models adopted the tooling of the 860 V2. Finally, turning the shoe over to the bottom, so we have a full rubber outsole done in this blue color. And as usual, we have this diamond-shaped traction pattern on the forefoot, along with these grooves to give you some added flexibility. And underneath this, in the middle, we have a brown colored TPU shank plate, which is what New Balance calls their stability web technology, and this is there in place to help with torsional rigidity and midfoot support. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this pair. And for those wondering about how these fit, to me these fit like any other 860 V2, so I personally go true to size for a nice, snug, but comfortable fit. So my foot measures as a true size 10, slightly on the wider side, meaning when I go to a shoe store, step on a Brandic device, I'm actually a US size 10 in between a D and an E width. So getting these in a size 10, the length of the shoe is great. I have no pressure points around the toe box, but it does feel a little bit snug in a comfortable way. So I feel like if you have a narrow, normal, or slightly wide foot, you can definitely go true to size in these, but if you have a really wide foot, you might want to consider going up a half size. To give you guys a point of comparison, I also go with a size 10 or true to size in some other New Balance silhouettes like the 2002R, 1906R, and a lot of the made in UK models like the 1500 and the 991, whereas I go a half size down to a 9.5 in a lot of New Balances made in USA models, so models like the 992, 993, and a lot of the 990 series, all of those I usually go down to a 9.5. Moving on to the comfort of this shoe, so these are, in my opinion, very comfortable. It feels very, very lightweight. And if you're a fan of the 1906R or the 2002R, you're going to be a fan of the comfort of these as well. So underfoot, it's pretty well balanced. You get some level of comfort and squishiness, but it feels very supportive and stable as well. So because of how the upper is a bit more streamlined and sleek, they don't feel as chunky as a typical 2002R or 1906R. And like I said, you feel a lot of stability and a decent amount of ground feel as well. But if you're someone that doesn't find 2002Rs, 1906Rs, or 860 V2s to be comfortable, then this is probably a model you probably want to skip because they'll feel more or less the same than those models that you've tried before. Finally, in terms of the quality and the craftsmanship, so first off, the material quality I thought was nothing special. Everything on the shoe is synthetic, so it's more of a performance-oriented model in mind. So we have a bunch of synthetic nubucks, reflective panels, things like that. No genuine leathers, genuine suedes, or nubucks. Nothing premium was used on the upper. However, the build of the shoe I thought was fine. For the most part, the stitch job was solid, no visible glue stains. I noticed that the toe box on these, they looked a little bit more banana shaped than a typical 860 V2 that I'm used to. Maybe I just got unlucky with my pair, but it's something I noticed with the toe box specifically. So with all that out of the way now, let's toss these on feet. I'll lace them up and I'll show you guys how these look. All in all, I think this is a refreshing change from a colorway perspective. It's such a random color palette, but somehow they really made it work. It's also a nice change of pace compared to the constant cream neutral tones that we've been getting. Even on my channel, I'm guilty of it. I've reviewed so many cream, off-white sort of sneakers. So getting a pair like this that has a very bold, colorful look, I personally think it's great. Is this gonna be for everyone? No. And is this gonna be a pair that you can wear every day? Probably not. But kudos to Up There for infusing some color on this shoe. I would never have guessed placing a neon green with pale blue, brown, and pink. I would never think that would work, but like I said, they really did make it work. So leave your thoughts down below. Let me know, what do you guys think about this Up There New Balance 860 V2? And do you plan on picking these up when they drop at the end of the month? Is this a game time decision, or it's gonna be a pass for you? As usual, if you guys enjoyed this review, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on Instagram at esco8, follow me on X at sean.go spelled out, and visit my website at seango.ca. So thank you everyone for watching. Another huge thank you goes out to Up There for sending me over this pair. Appreciate all of your love and support, and I'll catch you all in my next review.